Good morning and welcome back to the Now Morning Show, where we are talking the Secondary Schools Football League 2023. To do exactly that, we are joined by Mr. Lawrence Sipasad, the SSFL Operations Assistant. And of course, Kimberly and I will take this one because we're not just talking about the guys, but the girls as well.
Yes.
So good morning, sir, and welcome to the Now Morning Show.
Thank you. Good morning to each and everyone, and Trinidad and Tobago on the whole.
So happy to have you here because the excitement has been brewing for some time. The official or the opening game actually took place on Saturday last because we knew with the winners of the Intercall Fatima having to face off against the Premiership winner, St. Benedict's College, we are looking forward to a bumper season. So what is the energy like right now?
Well, based on what transpired on Saturday, I can tell you that everyone is looking forward to this season here, right? The place has been hyped up all among students, parents, spectators, so all our stakeholders are really looking forward to this season here, 2023. And that's inclusive of our sponsors as well. They are very, very behind us, this time around to make sure that the season go as it should go and all should benefit. At the end of it all, our student athletes should be the beneficiaries of this activity that
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the league itself, because when we, as we mentioned before, we are looking at both boys and girls. That's a massive undertaking. So let's get a little bit of a structure. What are we looking at this season?
Well, in our Premiership division, as compared to last year, what we would have done last year, we would have had the Premiership playing in two groups, all because of the fact that they were just coming off of the COVID and preparedness, and whether they were able to run the 15 games, right? So we had two groups where we had a playoff at the end of it to determine our winner. This year, however, we have reverted to the format where each team will play each other. So we have 16 Premier Division teams. They will all play each other, giving them 15 games at the end of the season. Who acquires the most points, of course, they will be declared champions of the Premiership 2023.
I know Ainka mentioned that we have both boys and girls, but I want to focus on the girls, especially since I know Tobago was the big winner last year.
Yes.
Tell us what we can expect from the girls' championship this year.
Well, our format really is that we have our league is running to 5 zones: North, East, Central, South, and Tobago. So what we have at the end of the season, we'll have a Big 5 competition to determine the winner of the league. And last year, what we had, the winners of the league last year came out to be Scarborough Secondary. They were real pumped up, and they are pumped up, raring to go.
As they should be.
Right? The Intercall, however, went after we played in our zones again, and we had our national playoffs. The eventual winner turned out to be Signal Hill Secondary School.
So Tobago just took everything.
So Tobago went with it, yeah. And they came down in full force because we had those finals played in Trinidad, and we saw, apart from the players and teachers and supporters, we had the Tobago fraternity that resides in Trinidad. They also came out and lent their support, which we appreciated so much. And the kids really felt it. As a matter of fact, when Tobago went back home, they were like on the port, everybody was there. There was an entourage waiting of spectators, waiting to,
I remember seeing visuals of this and trying to figure out, what happened? We generally place a lot of attention on our senior teams for obvious reasons. I mean, we all want to get that national recognition, but out of these leagues is where we get some of our best players. So we know that on Wednesday, the Premiership, the boys' Premiership begins. Speaking of the girls still, that follows when? When will be there first?
Well, actually, on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, our girls will be playing in Tobago, the winners of the league.
Right.
That is Scarborough Secondary. Will be playing against Signal Hill Secondary in an opening game as well at the Dwight York Stadium.
So simultaneous action.
That's right. That will precede the Premiership boys game between Speyside Secondary and Bishop's High School in Tobago. So actually, there's a doubleheader on at Dwight York Stadium tomorrow. 3 and 5, right? So it's that bumper doubleheader. Tobagonians are anxiously looking forward to that. Yeah.
Of course. I know just taking from what Ainka was talking about in terms of the importance of it, of course. I mean, we mentioned stakeholders in terms of who will be partnering with the SSFL to bring this to fruition. Do you see a lot of support from, whether it be private stakeholders, government, that sort of thing?
Well, basically what our stakeholders in terms of sponsorship comes from the private sector. At this point in time, we have a few sponsors that came on board, and some new, some outgoing, and we appreciate all the assistance they have come forward with. We do expect a few more to come. They have been knocking on the doors, and they're just on the outskirts and waiting to get in there, and all for the sake of the proper running of the football for our kids, really, in school level. Well, as part of from the government assistance, well, not financially, but we do get some assistance probably from using the stadiums and so on, right? Our Minister of Education, well, she's our official patron.
Yes, I saw her very well on Saturday representing the teams.
That's right. Yes. So she is involved, not just by a namesake, but,
she actually attends.
Yes, yeah. Right, and then she has a support staff who would be liaising with us on a regular basis to know what's happening in the league, and they feel very comfortable working with the SSFL, and we feel very comfortable as well working with the Ministry of Education, that is.
I also want to ask too, is there a way to train the players that are coming out of the league? So for example, is it that they're going to go to their own clubs, or does the SSFL also partner with some clubs to ensure that they get that sort of training to make their, football career smooth?
Well, most of our players, when they reach that age of, let's say, about to leave school, they are already assigned to clubs. They are already linked to clubs, So some of them would have started making that move from early o'clock as well. So it's an easy transition for them to move from, school to club when they do migrate from the school system itself. But all in all, we try to encourage them, apart from just being on the football field, we try to encourage them, hey, you are a student athlete, so it's important that you spend some time in your classroom with your work, your school work, it's very, very important. We try to impress on them the importance of that aspect of it, student athlete, right, and not just an athlete, studying. I mean, it's unfair to the student when we want to just have them playing football, so to speak, and ignoring their schoolwork. No, it's not what we promote.
They might enjoy it, right? The experience might surpass the need to go to class. But I've been there. But in terms of the secondary school leagues, it's something to look forward to. It is statistically proven to help with their actual ability to balance their academics. So we will see this continuing for eons and eons to come. But let's talk a little bit about the challenges or what you would like to see moving forward.
Well, one of the major challenges that we would have been experiencing right now is that some of our schools really, they seem to be having problems with their home venues. For example, I can simply say here, I was just in discussion, for example, Princestown, Yolan Pompey Ground. Yolan Pompey Ground might be a challenge for Pleasantville Secondary, who has chosen to go to Yolan Pompey Ground to play their home games, which is from Pleasantville to Princestown. I mean, that alone is a trek, all because their school ground isn't ready for many reasons. And that, and it gets back to finance, really.
Right.
So without that finance to prepare, to have the ground properly prepared. Right, we have the situation in South again, grounds where the Maniram John Stadium, no lights, the covered area is not allowed for anyone, right? So all the spectators has to go into the uncovered stands, right? So Presentation College will be using there because they're home ground as well, same thing, preparedness, right? St. Benedict's College, they are moving around the place trying to locate a ground still, you understand, at this stage of the season. Right, so one of the major problems really is ground, right? We have Malik right now here. They don't have a venue, yes, and they're trying to get a borrow from St. Mary's College. They're trying to get, wherever they could. East Mokarapo, for example, for years they hasn't had their own ground, So the venues seem to be a problem that keeps propping up, yes, and that is why that is one of the major problems. Shogunas North Secondary up till yesterday. So we don't know where we play in our home games.
Oh boy.
Because last year they were debarred from playing again at the African ground where we had an issue with it.
Mr. Sipasa, before we go, just one final question from me. I know normally we have a lot of scouts going to different countries to get the best to pull them to play for their leagues. Do we see a lot of scouts coming to TNT to see, who are the best in our players to kind of give them that opportunity at a football career?
Well, we encourage them to come as much as they can come, and sometimes they come unannounced, which is good as well. Sometimes the students play under less pressure when they know that they don't know that someone is watching them, right? So they do come. They are interested from scouts, foreign scouts, And even the local scouts here as well at the universities and so on, they look at it and
take them
they
into those
take it from me. Yeah. Now, apart from the clubs, for example, UTT
Yes.
be looking to get kids to come and do some, give them some scholarship or something. But we encourage that. And that's why we impress on our kids that, hey, you're a student athlete. Because again, you could be the best footballer, but going on a scholarship, you need to have some, some sort of academics to go with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, a pleasure having you in this morning, Mr. Sipasad. All the best with the rest of the season. And I know that the Intercol winners, they're going to be trying to retain their titles. So it's going to be a really bumper and exciting season this year. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you also very much. It was a pleasure being here, and I wish you all the best at the same time.
The boys' premiership begins on Wednesday, so you guys get ready for the action and more action after the break here on the Now Morning Show.